What's going on, everybody? How are you? Aaron Judge is just ridiculous, man. I mean, I know we take this guy for granted, and it's kind of boring radio. You just get on the air and drop these platitudes and superlatives at Aaron Judge. But sometimes you just got to step back and genuflect and say, good God, we are just lucky to watch this guy. Teak, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
I am good, man. I just watched this Yankees team miraculously come from behind after Garrett Cole gave up a couple of home runs. It didn't really have any strikeouts. It's nothing about command. He did hit his 2,000 strikeout, so congratulations to Garrett Cole. I think he's 9th or so on the all-time list right now. But this team felt like it was going to languish behind an Orioles team that has been better than them so far this season. And it makes you think about where this Yankee team can go if Garrett Cole gets banged around, if Nestor Cortez gets banged around, if Sevy's not who he is. Like, what is this team? And where are they? And what should be the expectation for them? Yes, you talk about Aaron Judge, Anthony Volpe has the walk-off. Like, it's exciting. You feel good about this Yankees win last night. In fact, it might have been one of the best wins of the season.
There's no question.
Right?
The other night in Toronto was up there, and certainly last night, great win.
But when you think in a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And it's May 24th. I know we should just be focused on summer. You know, the summer's coming. Memorial Day's around the corner. Let's focus on baseball. It's just a grind. They'll get through it. But we tend to, in sports radio, think bigger. And if you think bigger and you look at this team, you can't help but say, is this team better than the one that got knocked out of the championship, the AL championship last year? And the answer, I think, is no. I think the question marks, even though they've changed, like Bader's here consistently, and there's all these other there's other pieces that they brought in. Volpe is one, and Calhoun and whoever else is here. I think this team is worse than the team. Worse than the team.
How are they worse?
That went through last season, and all of this feel good that we felt is somewhat of a mirage. Now, that's not terminal because I think at some point this team changes, right? After the five hole in the batting order, it gets really lean. And Volpe's one of those guys. He had a sac fly, I know, but he's hitting 207 this year, and he's still learning how to be a pro. But after that 5 hole, it gets 200, 197, 180 something. It gets ugly. When I look at this team, it feels like it's a little bit of a mirage, even though it feels good right now, especially after wins like this, especially after the wins that we saw last week against Toronto. This Yankee team, in my mind, is worse than the one that went to the ALCS last year.
Oh, wow. Okay, I don't agree with that. I do agree with one of the first things you said about how, we're, even though we probably shouldn't, we're going to offer contextualization for the Yankees right now, even though it's only May. Because when you're the Yankees, the big picture is always going to come into play. And I got news for you. We'll get to the Mets a little later as well. But, even with the Mets, is this great youthful energy, these amazing walk-off wins. I'm not saying they will, but if the Mets were to stumble, drop a couple in Chicago, lose 4 out of 6, I guarantee that the big macro picture comes right into play.
It does.
It is what it is.
It has to.
We don't need to apologize for it. We don't even need to offer context. This is New York, and this is baseball, and that's the bottom line. Number one. Number two, all right, so the Yankees are absolutely playing great. 10 games over 500, 5 straight wins. They've won 12 out of 15. I'm going to push back on that the Yankees are worse. I think that they're slightly better. Now, I don't know that they're good enough to actually do what we want them to do. There's no way that I can say that the Yankees are worse, but I can say that I think that the Astros might be a little different / worse, even though they're starting to get their act together a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that the situation in center field, because he's here for the duration now, is better. I think the shortstop situation than last year, better. I think the bench situation this year is better for the Yankees. And this is going to sound like an odd one. I think the managing situation is better.
Tell me about the rotation.
Well, the rotation is what it is. But
is it better or worse?
I don't know. I think it's incomplete. But you're saying that it's worse. I'm not even, and I can't say that it's better. I'm not gonna say that.
You can't say it's better.
But I don't know how you could say that it's worse.
Well, here's the thing. Ultimately, this will get fixed. I hope this gets fixed, right? But right now, looking right now, the snapshot of this Yankee team, it's worse than the one that we saw last year.
I'm legitimately asking how.
So Cole is Cole. Let's just wash him from last year. Nestor is not the same Nestor that we had last year.
It's true.
Right? Sevy was hurt early. Now I know he had one pretty decent start. How far did he go?
They went 4 2/3.
4 2/3. So it was okay.
Yeah, no, but
right?
he had good command. He had good stuff. It's a good start.
But I still have a question mark on Nestor. You get behind that, who are we talking about? Rodon's not available yet. You go look at the bullpen. Who's closing for this team? I know Michael King did a really good job with 2 innings last night, but who's closing
who
for this
closed
team?
for them last year? Remember, your whole premise is that they're worse than last year. Who's the closer? Chapman checked out.
Clay
and Holmes was a disaster.
He was great for half of the season.
When it mattered.
When it mattered.
I'm saying when it mattered.
When it mattered, I'm not talking about when it mattered.
But then how can you say that they're worse?
I'm just looking at this team right now. And even if it's the same with the closer situation, it's not solved.
Mm-hmm.
It's not clear who's backing up, the starters if they can even get to 6 or 7 innings, which they consistently have not been doing. This rotation has not been solid. It hasn't been fully formed yet. I hope that changes, but right now this team is worse. And then you look at DJ is going into a slump. Donaldson's not even played yet. You got Calhoun who's hitting 140-something or whatever the heck he's hitting. I don't think he's actually that bad. He's over 200, but Higashioka's under 200.
Yep.
Bowers, who actually had a good hit, he's under 200.
That Orioles closer is throwing absolute gas, dude.
I mean,
those guys throw hard.
I like Oswaldo Cabrera, but he's hitting at 200. Like, you get to the back of this lineup, and it's just kind of like, ugh. Like, I don't trust any of those guys. And so you have to get creative. And this is where you're right about Boone. He's managing the hell out of it. Like the substitutions and whether they were called or not.
The bunts?
The squeeze bunts. Like all those things.
I want to know the answer to that. Here's what I think, since you brought that up. I think DJ LeMahieu acted on his own. I really do. The first time, I was actually okay with it, pushing by him. And O'Neill said it. Maybe you do a squeeze. It's better.
Because he's been struggling at the plate.
Although he hit one hard to short. He got robbed. There was a bullet to the shortstop's right. But he's not hitting. He's suddenly around 250 or so. And if DJ doesn't hit for average, DJ brings no value. Not a power hitter, no wheels. Good glove man with versatility. But in terms of hitting, if he's not hitting for average, he really doesn't bring a lot. All right? I guess contact rate is certainly a plus, and that matters in October. But I think that he just said, you know what, I'm not hitting. I see a window. If I could just kind of push this between the first baseman or pass the pitcher toward first. That he did it again was bizarre.
Yeah.
The one that I really don't know about was Bader.
I know.
Was Bader giving the bunt?
That made no sense because if there's one guy in the line after hitting a home run, there's one guy in the lineup you want to swing. It's
him
Harrison
and Judge.
Bader.
Yeah, and Judge and then Bader.
Especially when you look who was behind.
Yep.
Bader.
No, I hear you.
What are you doing?
What are you taking the bat out of his hands? If somebody else is in line to take the baton, it makes a little more sense. Although, listen, this is where you give Bader a lot of credit. Like McNeil 2 games ago for the Mets with 2 strikes, lofted one out to left field. Bader still did his job by getting the runner over, despite that there were 2 strikes.
Look, the bottom line is we feel good about this Yankee team because they're winning.
I feel very good about them now.
But in some ways, it's kind of masking the fact that they're getting saved by Judge, who's hit 7 home runs in his last 7 games. Is that right? Is that the right stat? I think
best player in baseball. Don't give me Ohtani. Judge by far. Judge is the best.
Yeah, you're right. Acuna's playing fantastic.
That's great. Judge is the best.
He might be the National League MVP. Sorry, Pete Hoffman back there.
Judge is just amazing.
But Judge is just fantastic.
Amazing.
He's fantastic.
It's amazing.
And you can't say it enough. You can say it in 30,000 different ways.
Yeah.
You can't say it heavily enough.
But I still think I'm shortchanging the guy. I feel like bad. I almost feel guilty.
But that's the point.
He's incredible.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
Right? If Judge is just average and he's not elite.
Well, like what happened in the playoffs a year ago where nobody
hit. If he's just average and not elite, where is this Yankee team?
Okay. Now that's something that you and I could come to common ground on. Because in totality, when you tell me that this Yankees team so far, and I can only assume that you mean all encompassing, every aspect of the team, which is what I thought. I'm going to push back and say, no, there's no way I agree with Tiki's assertion that the 2023 Yankees are worse, comparable, maybe slightly better. Oh, that's a different discussion. Worse than the 2022 Yankees. No, I can't get down with that. What I can co-sign, and this is the unfortunate reality for the Yankees, if Judge doesn't hit, they have no shot to win.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what month it is. It doesn't matter what game it is. It doesn't matter the late inning, early. It doesn't matter. If Judge doesn't hit, Yankees can't win.
Yeah. And they got, I don't want to say lucky, but they were lucky that Judge is Judge. And he smashes the game-tying home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. and they get the extras, and Volpe does what he's supposed to do, right? He just hits it in the air. He's celebrating, and it's all you feel good.
Yeah, you do.
I'm not taking away the feel good.
I know you're not.
Because it's there. But when you just stop and just start peeling away, like take away the onion, you might start crying a little bit, right? I'm just that's what I feel about this Yankee team. I don't feel good about their future as it sits in this snapshot. Is that going to get better when Stanton's back? Yeah, I hope so. Sevy becomes more consistent. Maybe Nestor finds himself. Maybe Rodon actually pitches for us.
Imagine if
Rodon
rips off 15 straight starts. I mean, not straight, but 15 starts where 80% of them are like Rodon or 85%.
But do you feel good about that?
Honestly, I'm almost apathetic to it. To me, because he has never played.
A bad thing. Yeah.
No, because I'm not counting on him.
Yeah.
But I'm also not ruling him out. Because now, if this was Garrett Cole, we know who the Yankees are with Garrett Cole. Therefore, we can only imagine what they are without him because they haven't been good enough to win with him.
Yeah.
All right. But like Rodon has never pitched a meaningful pitch for the Yankees. So I almost don't factor in his absence. It's in the back of my mind of like, if this guy comes back and deals, it changes the entire complexion of the Yankee season.
I just think there's just a bunch of hope sitting here, like a bunch of this. I hope this works out.
Yep.
Right. I hope Stanton gets healthy back from this, whatever. I don't even know what it is right now.
It's the hamstring when he was decelerating
was
at
it
second base.
Yeah,
it's hamstring. Definitely hamstring.
I hope that Donaldson actually contributes at some point. Right. I hope that we find a closer solution, and maybe it is Michael King. I don't know. We thought that last year. Actually, maybe he could slide into that role. When Clay Holmes started to lose his effectiveness, and then he got hurt, and he's out for the whole season. So there's just a lot of I don't know with a lot of important pieces of this Yankee team, and this is in spite of they're winning in spite of all of this, and maybe that is a testament to Aaron Boone, as you mentioned. It is a testament to Aaron, not maybe it is a testament to Aaron Boone, but there's still a lot of reality with this Yankee team that's not comforting. Even though they've won a lot of games over the last 2 weeks.
I got you. Interesting, Tiki. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan inside of our Town Fair Tire studio. Friends at Town Fair remind you that you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. All right, before we get to you, let me now throw it back to my partner. A little haterade today in his coffee. Tiki serving up the hate.
Someone made it bitter.
Maybe it's Huff, who's back to work today. I think that you can make the case that the case that you just made about the Yankees can be made in every city by every fan base for every baseball team, maybe with the exception of the Braves if their pitchers are fully healthy. You tell who trusts Toronto right now? You can't. They're not playing well.
Oh, they scored 20 runs yesterday.
No, I know, but you know what I'm saying. They've been on a real downslide, okay? Who trusts the Orioles? Well, you like their youth, but you don't trust them yet because there's been no evidence that.
Yet.
Okay. The Rays are a handful. There's no doubt about that. Forget about the Red Sox. Forget about the Central. The Astros are not quite the same. Now, I respect them, but they're not quite the same team. We talk about the Mets equally every day. Mets, if these young kids stop hitting or, God forbid, the old aces break down and get rocked, the Mets are pretty much cooked. The Cardinals started off in the tank.
Yeah.
The Padres are awful despite that bloated payroll and superstars everywhere. You say the Dodgers, the Braves, really, and the Rays. Where are the other constants in baseball? I don't think that there's that many.
And maybe that's just the reality of every team this year, and that means that the Yankees aren't they're not in a dire spot. Because look, they're sitting comfortably right now. They just had one of the biggest wins of the season. They catch a game or tick a game towards the Orioles for second in the division. The Rays have started to slide a bit after that the series lost to the Mets, and then they got bludgeoned last night by the Blue Jays. So they're nowhere near out of it. But this team doesn't feel like a team that could win 100 games. And things just have to be perfect. And laying so much, and we're looking at him right now. We're watching the replay of Aaron Judge laying so much on this 6'8". Dude's as big as Carl Anthony Towns, by the way.
I saw that picture. I thought the same thing.
Right? This dude, it's a lot to put all of this on Aaron Judge's shoulders.
Okay.
Now, Rizzo's been hitting he's unbelievable. Rizzo. The RZA. You love what Rizzo's doing.
I love that little bloop to left field, too. A little contact
There's a lot of holes, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of holes, a lot of question marks around this team, despite how good it feels. I'm not taking any of the feel good away. I keep saying that. This feels awesome. But at the same time, the reality kind of is a little rose-colored glasses going on right now.
By the way, if you didn't get the Karl Anthony Towns reference, he was out at the stadium. Lifelong Yankee fan, local kid throughout the first pitch, and there was a bunch of pictures, obviously, on social media. They're the same size.
Soon to be Nick.
Basically.
Soon to be Nick.
I don't know if I want him.
Come on, dude.
You're gonna have to blow it. Don't get me derailed with that. I 2 years ago, I was all in. I think that ship may have sailed, at least for me. All right. Bob is in Middletown on the Fan. First up, Tiki and Tierney Show. Bobby, what's cooking?
What's up, Bob?
Good morning. You guys are fantastic. You guys are my favorite show by far.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Bobby.
I have to. No problem. Anytime. One thing I would respectfully disagree with Tiki as much as I love you. I'm also a Giants fan for years.
Man.
I remember watching, Phil Simms and LT come up and all those great guys.
Yeah, man.
But
good.
I would say the one thing that is allowing the Yankees to succeed right now is the on base percentage, and they're being more selective with pitches. And like you said, I mean, Boone's been making some really good moves, but if you look at the speed, the addition of Volpe and even recently Allen, and they got rid of the dead weight Hicks.
Yeah,
I think they should do the same thing with Donaldson. But the enormous contract would not allow that to happen. But
yeah.
But if Donaldson came back and actually hit the ball and actually looked for good pitches to hit instead of striking out and popping up like 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, but do you have faith that that's going to happen? I don't know. I mean, it's a big I don't know. And you're right about the speed because Bader's has some speed. Volpe clearly has speed. Was he 13 for 13 in stolen bases so far? Cabrera, he can get around the bases as well. Allen, you mentioned.
Yep.
They have some speed. There's no doubt about that. And
Glaber's, when he's locked in, is his smart base runner.
Yeah.
By the way, that read that Glaber Torres got when they held him up at third on that little fly on Rizzo's head.
Yeah.
What? I mean, we've got on Glaber Torres a lot for having his, head in the clouds sometimes and going through these streaks where it doesn't hit. That was an amazing read off the bat. Right in front of him, left field. That's a tough read on that little bloop. And he wanted to score. They held him up.
Yeah.
But Glaber Torres, a couple of base hits up the middle. Like at least he's a good base runner. He's not a blazer, but he's a smart base runner when he's paying attention to stuff. So, I don't know. I think they feel a little more complete to me. But if you just tune it in, downer Tiki here.
I'm not downing you.
Negative Tiki.
It feels amazing to get these wins.
Tells me that
especially against the Orioles. But
the 2023 Yankees are worse.
Untint those glasses a little bit.
Than the 2022 Yankees. That's what Tiki just said. All right, 877-337-6666. We'll obviously get to the Mets stuff a little later. A little Jets as well with Rogers. Something he said in the post game or the post practice, or really for him, the post watch press conference caught my attention after we were off the air. I want to get to that a little later. We'll get back to you on the Yanks. Is this version better? Discernibly better. Or, slightly better. Let's go with that. Than last year. Tiki doesn't think so. I disagree. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan.